Let me bring up the Wrobel thing. We can read this together. Sorcerer Q&A, they said. Okay. Let's bring that out a little, huh? Okay. Large amount of feedback and questions. You should be drunk when you read it. Alright. Well, I'm not gonna be drunk. It doesn't happen that quick. But here's to you guys. Cheers for good times and more to come. Large amount of feedback and questions from the Sorcerer section on the PTS forums. So I'm making a thread in a different sub forum. Okay. Answer to some of these questions affect all classes, so we're sharing them with everyone. We'd like to engage in this type of communication with all classes as time allows, providing helpful feedback. Take the following guidelines into account. Include specific details of your issues. Consider all types of gameplay. Back up your ideas with math and logical arguments. Oh, okay. You know what? Why don't we back up changes with math and logical arguments? Oh, God. Here we go. Sorcerer is the only class that doesn't have a spammable class DPS skill. I just seen trapping webs. Trapping webs was never meant to be a spammable ability. Costs more, slower damage. Focus on dominance at powerful synergies. Blah, blah, blah. I understand that sorcerers would like more freedom when choosing what weapon to use as a stamina character. Even without a class ability, you have a diverse set of options between bow, one-handed shield, two-handed dual wield. Magic technically has 4 options as well. We don't have any immediate plans changed, but we'd like to give sorcerers more compelling decisions when selecting a weapon. Okay. I'm not... So my opinion on the whole spammable thing, people say this, and I'll be honest, like, I don't think we need a spammable thing either. I really don't. I think what we need are things that actually make our class, you know, that actually help it. And this shit that we've got so far is not that. Like, last patch they made changes to passives in the Sorc tree that are overshadowed by Fighters Guild passives, which are more useful skills. Because the other ones, they were Magicka skills. So I'd have to put Magicka skills on my bar to boost my damage by 2%. Or I can put Fighters Guild skills, which are actually good this coming patch, which do 3% more. And everyone has access to them. So everyone in the game can put on skills that boosts everything by 3%. And the Sorc has the 2% one. Great. Like, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's such a half-assed bullshit change that was made, like, the patch before. And it's like, here you go, here's something, right? But now it doesn't matter, because now you made new changes, forgetting about the change you made last patch, which also sucked. And now the sucky changes are irrelevant. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, let's move on. Offering player interesting. Alright, shields. They took it very hard in this. I don't care about shields, really. Offering players interesting choice. One of the design goals. People have different play styles. Some of them will choose to have more sustainability in PvP. Some will prefer hardened ward. Some will use empowered. I don't think anyone's using empowered ward. As a hardcore gamer, it sounds like you want a dual spec system. We don't have me yet. Fuck wards. Why did we receive so many defensive nerfs without a single usable buff on our defense, sustain, shield, and surge? We base decision on extensive play testing, player feedback, data from Maelstrom Arena leaderboards. Oh my god. So you changed surge because of Maelstrom Arena leaderboards, which actually fucks over Stam Sorcs, which are already the weakest. I don't know. I don't know. I got nothing there. Like, if you're gonna bounce Surge off VMA leaderboards, you got problems. That's a Magicka thing. It's not even just that. It's the fact that Sorcs can burst through shit with Overload. It's not because of Surge. Surge works in conjunction with it from a survival perspective, but what about Stam Sorcs, bro? Totally dogging us with these stupid ideas. Alright, Surge nerf. All classes have skills, which, here we go. This is what we want to talk about. If Overload was the reason, as Wrobel mentioned on ESO Live, then why not just cap the heal at 6 to 8k to prevent 20k Overload heals at its peak? There's other ways to go about that. We wanted to make Surge ability more universal tool in the Sorc kit. It wasn't intended as a nerf, except in the case of Overload, because we felt that synergy was overperforming compared to others. We're working out a balance in the file number, so we expect to see a sizable increase in Surge healing for Dark Brotherhood's release. Please. Please be real. It's been a long-standing issue that Surge doesn't play well with dot builds, thus limiting numbers of options for Sorcs. Abilities such as Crushing Shock deal damage in 3 separate attacks, and Flurry never proc the heal. Surge is now more effective for tank characters. Okay. Well, thank God. All those sorcerer tanks out in Cyrodiil. You guys are in luck. You know, I've seen them out there. All those Sorc tanks. They've really been kicking ass, but they're gonna take a step up this patch. So, congratulations, Sorc tanks. I'm sure we'll see a big increase in them in Cyrodiil this patch. Let me catch up on chat. What's up, Miss Biz? How you doing? Infamous? How you doing, bro? Welcome. The speeds, I don't know how to like answer that. It's like people they don't know what's going on. Just come chat with us, man. Come chat with us like once every 2 weeks. Just be like, how's it going, FENGRUSH? We're looking to do this with Surge, good or bad. Just be like, bad. No, don't do that. You know, I feel partially responsible. King, you remember, Wrobel came and talked to you and I after one of the ZeniMax meetings. Wrobel came in a channel with me and King, and he goes, what do Stam Sorcs need? Like, what's the issue here? And we talked about a couple things. And I talked about dual wield specifically. I'm like, nobody's using dual wield for a reason. Flurry blows. I said it's not defined by anything, and that's its spammable skill. Every weapon line has something that can be weaved and spammed. And Flurry is the option, and it blows. I'm like, it needs to separate itself in some way and be used, right? And then I also said, it'll never be used by Stam Sorcs because it doesn't work with Surge. He was like, oh, okay. And this is what happened, okay? This is what happened. Like, part of me feels like I'm being a dickhead and just being like, oh, well, because it's almost like he's doing, like, something I talked about directly. Literally, directly. I even said, like, the minor expedition thing on boat, and, like, these things are literally happening, but, like, they're happening the wrong way, man. Like, that's not what I wanted. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's great that you can express your problems, but you gotta talk about the solutions. Don't throw it in there and fuck off for like a month on the PTS. You waste all that time when we could be testing something that works, instead of sitting there for a month and telling you 50 different reasons it doesn't work, because that's what ends up happening. Like, we don't need to be surprised on the PTS. You don't have to be like, surprise, really cool skills coming for you. Because that's not what happens half the time. Some of the skills are good, and then some of them it's like, oh, you fucked it all up now. Everything's fucked up. And some of that stuff won't get fixed, and instead of fixing it, you'll be like, okay, it created new problems. There's a lot of people complaining about this. so we put in a new skill, and that fucks up the thing that everyone's bitching about, and then it fixed it, right? Like, this is not how you go about solutioning this stuff. I don't know. Alright. Is this another Surge question? Is this the second one? Did I just read this one? This is a different one. Okay, there's two of them. They changed it for me, King. Dude, it's you. Everyone knows it's wrong. Like, if you had asked me this, I would have said no. Don't do it. Because here's the thing. You want to buff tank builds? Okay. Okay, tank builds can crit and they can drain now. I mean, just think about this for a second. If you're a sorcerer tank, what are you focusing on? Tanking. Surviving. Just being a fucking tank, right? Okay. Well, here you go, sorcerer tanks that don't exist in any aspect, any layer of the game, anywhere, okay? We put in something for you. Even though there's no fucking sorcerer tanks that ask for it, we put in a new crit surge just for you guys. And by the way, you're gonna have to build crit in your tank build. What? Who the fuck is gonna build crit into a fucking tank build? If I have to build crit on my tank build, I'm not gonna be the tank of the party. Because they're gonna be like, alright, we got the sorcerer tank. What's your crit rate, bro? Is it high enough for that crit surge? Because no one's gonna build like that. You're not gonna be the tank. It's as simple as that. Like, did they even think that out? Did you think about that for a second? To be like, okay, Sorc tanks need crit now. It doesn't make sense. They don't even exist. There isn't Sorc tanks that exist that ever asked for this. You solve the problem for people that never asked for it because they don't exist. That crowd is not out there. There's no market for this shit. If you wanted to tank as a Sorc, go fucking magic a Sorc is your first option, and shield stack, because shields cost fucking dirt cheap nothing, and they are insanely strong. You could do that, option 1. Or option 2, use the old crit surge, which I could do. I could taunt a boss and just backwards and spam crit rush, crit rush, crit rush, over and over, and I would heal more than the current crit surge. And I would be dealing more damage, and I would be tanking better. But you don't even realize that. And I could have told you that in a minute without ever even testing this, to be like, this is why it's stupid. Okay? And we'd be like, oh, okay, well, let's go back to the drawing board. But instead, we're a month into the PTS. The patch is dropping in fucking 3 days, and we have a broken surge now. It just doesn't make sense. So, these are the patches that come. So anyway. Alright. Surge takes a look at the design and functionality inside Cyrodiil. Players do not stand inside the .AoE attacks like Liquid Lightning. Of course they don't. A 900 heal is not helpful, even if it manages to crit. Under the old system, we could at least get a decent heal. Right. Surge now feels like a sustainability instead of a spike heal ability. The design makes more sense for the ability because the procs are random. Big burst heals are something you want to be able to use with reliability when you need them. Getting a big surge heal when you're at full health and getting no heal when you're at low can lead to frustrating situations. Surge has a stronger synergy with damage shields now. Damage shields? Surge has good synergy with damage shields. The same damage shields you took away from Stam classes, like Stam Sorc. You're like, hey, we're gonna put in Bone Shield. Stam classes can use this. Then you came on ESO Live after you took it away, and you're like, yeah, we felt Stamina shouldn't have the same sustain as Magicka, so they don't have shields. But yet, Surge has a strong synergy with damage shields. Okay. So basically, fuck Stam Sorc yet again. Thank you. The shields help stop big bursts, and Surge heals to top off your health. That's great. I'll let you know when I have some fucking room to cast some bone shields for 5k stamina, which now scales off my max health, which I guess needs to be high. I guess I'm supposed to be tanking on a Stam Sorc. I'm not supposed to kill anything. I don't even know. This is the problem. You don't look at the class and like figure out what does it actually need. You're looking at the skills and you're building a skill without really taking the class, understanding it, and trying to build for it. It doesn't make sense. It's frustrating. It's annoying. It's unacceptable. Tell me Sorc is in a good spot, please. Not really. All Stam's going to be better next patch. So in that respect, it's good. They took away some of our sustain in a big way. I actually used Crit Surge on the current patch. I used it prior, but it's going to fall off my bar in its current form. It needs to be changed, or it just falls off my bar. It just, like, when you're a Sorc, you don't have good class skills, and you end up having to use so many weapon line skills to stay alive, and so many utility-based skills. Like, that's what happens with a Sorc. You have all these fucking skills that, like, you really don't... You're like, oh, I don't want all this, but you have to, or you're not going to stay alive in the fight. And then, I mean, they just took away, like, one of the big ones. So you have Vigor and Rally that you got to go back to. I was using Vigor and Crit Surge. But, I mean, because I could control my Crit Surge, I can't control it now. I could go in and chunk somebody for a huge chunk of his health and 1k heal, or, you know, 2k, whatever the fuck it is. It's nothing. I'm going to use Rally. I'm going to heal myself for 6k and have a constant tick. The constant tick off Rally is comparable to Crit Surge. Not to mention, I get a big flood heal. So why the fuck would I use Crit Surge? What is Crit Surge better than right now? Like, these are the things you need to compare it to. When you compare it to other Stam classes, and they have Major Mending, and they're running Vigor and Rally full-time, how does that compare to you, who doesn't have Major Mending? You need to have your way of healing, and it has to be comparable. If it's not comparable, you need to redo it and look at the numbers. And that didn't happen. Anyway, Dark Deal. Oh man, yo, they've been trying to make Dark Deal a skill to use since I don't know when.
User was moved to your
Dark
channel.
Deal, I don't think it's ever like been used in a practical way ever in this
User
game.
left your channel.
And they just keep on trying to change this skill. Every time they're like, we up the values a little bit. We up the values again. It's stronger again. And nobody uses this in all four of the aspects he talked about. Solo, group, PvP, PvE. Nobody uses it in any of them because it's a channel. It's a channel skill. You're literally disservicing yourself by using this skill. You will lower your DPS. You will put yourself at risk of dying by using this skill. And yet they're just like, guess we just need to up the numbers again. Like, unless this fucking skill restores all of my bars to full when I use it, it's not gonna get used. Like, it was an instant cast once, and they took it away. I don't even see a point in reading this. Cast time abilities at a risk reward mechanic. Yeah. I feel they should be worth the risk. Dark Flare and Radiant. Okay. You're gonna compare, hang on. You're gonna compare Dark Deal to Dark Flare and Radiant. Dark Flare hits harder than fucking Crystal Fragments now and applies fucking Defile on you. Radiant kills everything that exists in the map under half health. You just die. And you're gonna compare that to Dark Deal, which just gets me killed. If I press Dark Deal, I die. Like, it's a really dark deal. We want firing off Dark Exchange in the middle of combat to feel awesome. It's quote worthy. We want it to feel awesome. Since it's difficult to do. Oh, it's real difficult. It's impractical more than difficult. We want it to feel awesome. Everybody should put this in their signature. If you have a forum account, put this in your signature. We want firing off Dark Exchange in the middle of combat to feel awesome.
User left your channel.
That's good. That's the best part so far. We're also significantly... Improving the number of resources returned. We are 100% against making this ability instant cast, but we'd like to further investigate the cast time option first. It's not going to happen, man. Nobody's going to drop their DPS in a game that has animation canceling and the way it works. No one's going to drop their DPS for that. Again, unless it restores like 50% or more of your resources, nobody's going to use it. And I mean your DPS resources, your magicka and your stamina. No one's going to use it. It's just common sense. So any fool knows that. Why give a version of our signature ability defensive to all classes? There are multiple advantages of being a sorcerer when looking at damage shield options. You can stack annulment, shield ward, conjure ward, blah 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 blah. I don't care about shields. There's a reason I'm not Magicka Sorc. I just don't like the play style. I don't hate you guys for doing it. I don't think, you know, Magicka Sorcs will always have to shield stack until they change how armor values work. Because a Magicka Sorc can't go like medium or heavy. And if they're in light, they're gonna get fucking hammered. It just makes sense to use shields. It's going to continue to be, so oh well. I feel like Zoss has just flipped the table on Stem. Sorry, yeah, they don't really care. They never have. Alright. Given this was supposed to be major stamina pass on all abilities, why are Sorcs the only class without a stamina-based DPS skill? Again, I don't think we need, because a lot of people say this on the forums, and I get it to an extent. I do. But you have to look at like what some classes have. So when you have like a Stamplar and he has real strong jabs, cool. Nightblade has, you know, his ambush strike skill, whatever the fuck it's called, surprise attack. So I mean, when these classes have those morphs, DK's getting some good poison stuff this patch. I get that, but then you look at the DK's one, it's like dots and stuff, right? And they're really good. So what I would like on Stab Sorc, a dot, sure. Here's the problem: they look at Hurricane, and they're like, "There's your dot, there's your damage, there's your DPS." It's no. And now they gave us an Execute. It scales off max health. It doesn't scale off of weapon damage or max stam. It scales off max health. It's really not that great either. I'll tell you why. For two-handers, Execute's really strong. Like, you can just chop someone down with Execute. It got buffed in a big way this patch. And it's a big reason staminas are going to be very bursty strong. Now, if you go the dual-wield route and you're running a lot of dots, yes, this Execute will proc. But I still don't think it's going to be that relevant in PvP. It's going to proc and it'll kill people. Don't get me wrong. But it's not going to be, like, the difference maker. We're talking being below 15% health. Okay? So, I mean, that's like 3k health on a lot of people. And if you're using dual-wield, I mean, you have dual-wield bonus at that point. 3k health is like a skill. It's one skill. Or a tick of like poison injection. Poison injection can tick for like 6k next patch. I mean, I'm not impressed with the Execute. It'll be useful for PvE if you're killing like a fucking raid boss or something in a trial, because that's a bigger window, 15%. But it's not really relevant here in PvP. I want utility skills on Stam Sorc. I want access to buffs. Like, if you use this skill, you're gonna get this buff. You know, and that's how every class should be. Every class should have multiple options of major, minor buffs, different dots, different effects, where they don't just play their class one single way. They have different options on how to play a Stam Sorc. They have different options on how to play a Magicka Templar, whatever it is. You have different options and different routes and different builds and some combinations. That's ideally what you want to do. But to do that, you have to give us access to the buffs. Okay? You don't give every buff to every class and make everything available. but you have to make things comparable. For example, some classes have access to major mending. Great. People want access to major mending on Stam Sorc. The only way to really do that is to just add it to every class, which I don't think you should do. You either add it to Undaunted or Fighters Guild or something like that, which I don't think you should do. But, like, you already had a good thing going. You had our way to heal was Crit Surge. So we had to tie that into our build if we wanted the heals. The same way a DK would have to tie Major Mending into his build. Or, you know, same for Templars. If they wanted to get the heals, they have to tie it into their build. If they want to forgo the heals, maybe they pick up more damage. Stuff like that is good. And they're not making, you know, those options available. And it's very obvious, like, which classes are missing which options. And once you make all the options available, you go and you tweak the skills. So when something's broken, you don't go and fucking change the skill, take it out of the game, or say, hey, we reinvented the skill this patch. No, maybe you just need to tweak the numbers. Maybe it worked. Maybe it was a good skill. I've seen that far too many times. People complain about something and they just remove it. And they're like, it's gone. New meta. Now this is the new thing that's going to fuck up everybody. So don't worry, you don't have to complain about that skill anymore. And we get nowhere. That's not good design, in my opinion, at least. I would rather go this route, where we slowly have every class has options to multiple things and just tweak the numbers and slowly add things. Because if you did that, if you arrived at like an area of bounce, then you could start to add new skills and new skill lines. Like you were supposed to add weapon ults like a year ago. You never added any new skill lines. You're adding PvE skill lines that don't do anything, but like, you know, like add new skills, PvE and PvP. We'd love to have them. We'd love to have new Undaunted skills. We'd love to have new Fighter Guild skills, and they're just not, it's not going to happen because you're in so much trouble rebouncing every patch. And this is why. And you could avoid these problems if you reached out and chat with people. And I know you reach out and you chat with people, but you're not actually solutioning with people. You're not actually doing that effectively. It's unfortunate. I'd like to see it happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but it'd be nice. You know. Where can you find these notes? This is on the Combat and Mechanics forum. It's at the top. FENGRUSH, why don't they remove Nightblade buffs then? That's one thing I've advocated for. I feel Nightblades have access to way too many things. I think they have too many options. When you go and you make a Nightblade and you actually skill it, you actually run into the issue of like, God, I have access to so many good skills. More classes should be like that. In Nightblade's case, I feel they have access to a wide variety of things. But it's not just that. It's they have passives that aren't considered major or minor buffs. They're considered, you know, they have way too much in their passives, Nightblade. I feel they do. Now, with that said, Nightblades are not like super out of whack, crazy, overpowered because of that. But I still think they could be, you know, revisited. It's not the biggest problem with the game, the Nightblades, and having so many skills. It doesn't make it so bad. It really doesn't. But whatever. Let me mute that music. Jar Jar. Thank you for the host, brother. Welcome. You're bringing your boys in here. Son of a bitch. All right. Let's read the next thing. Given this was supposed to be major stamina pass, blah blah blah. We want every class to feel different. They all have unique pros and cons. For example, DKs don't have a spammable stamina-based ability. They have dots, right? Good design. I agree with that. Hurricane is the sorcerer's class-based stamina ability. Okay, so let me just... I didn't even read this early, but you guys... I just went over this like in the last 5 minutes, okay? DKs have a spammable stamina-based ability. They have Venomous Claw and Noxious Breath. Hurricane is the sorcerer's. Okay? You cannot compare the DK's Venomous Claw and Noxious Breath to Hurricane. They are not comparable. They're not. Hurricane's damage is not that good. When you first made Hurricane, what was it? Was it called Hurricane when you first made it? When you first implemented this, for example, It did half the damage of Caltrops. And you're like, there you go. We put in a physical skill for you. It does half the damage of Caltrops. We good, bro? You guys good? Like, that just shows, like, no one's actually... You just throw things in there. Like, you just... Who the fuck know... I don't... Who picks that number? Half a Caltrops. It was like 600 damage a tick. Who does that? Who comes up with that and says, looks good, put it in, it's going into the patch, in production, bang, we're done, and you call it a day at that? Who actually does that? Because it's got to be a typo. Like, did someone miss a 0 on it? Now, Hurricane's damage has gone up, okay? But it's still not Venomous Claw and Noxious Breath. It's not. It's not comparable to what a Stam Blade has or a Stamplar. Like, you can't just be like, you got Hurricane, it's all good. It doesn't work like that. Poll any 10 PvPers, and they would all agree. They'd all say, Hurricane is just not that good. But, like, you're not doing that. All right. Anyway, I won't go on about it. Now deals physical damage, scales with your physical damage stats, deals increasing damage over time. Damage per cast on this ability is now extremely high. Extremely high. Come on, it's not extremely high. What does that mean? Cool new effects? Oh, yeah. Yeah, great new effects. Everyone can see me now. XPX. Thank you for the resub, man. Welcome back 7 months in a row, you son of a bitch. Get in here. Cool new effects. I like this. This is the second quotable piece. You just imagine you come into this thread and you're like, all right, let's do some bullet points. Cool new effects. Do you think they say that for the Stam DKs, like puke? That looks like disease. Cool new effects. And it grants minor expedition, which is good. This is the one takeaway I have from Hurricane that I like, is it has minor expedition. It goes back to what I'm saying. It gives us like something unique. It's cool. It's just not enough to compare with the other classes. Just Hurricane by itself. I mean, take this for example. Everyone and their mother that's a Stam Sorc on the forums is telling him, bound armaments, please do something about it. We can't have it on 2 bars, okay? This is after the fact that they used every toggle ability like in the game. They changed them. All the Mage Light shit. They even changed Evil Hunter, which wasn't a toggle, and they made it the same as Mage Light, which was like the toggle fix skill. And basically, you have it on bar, it gives you passive stuff, you click it, and it has like, you know, the short duration thing. Why can't we get that with bound armaments? It's still one of those skills that just blows, because I have to have it on 2 bars. It's insane. And even if I had it on 1 bar, it's not amazing. It really isn't. I don't know. Like, it should have something else, like where we click it and we get a buff for 5 seconds or something. But while we have it on bar, it gives us more max stam and the heavy attack thing. Like, that would be something you could do. You changed every other toggle, but the only one that's, like, relevant to Stam Sorc, you're like, nah, go fuck yourselves on that one. That one's we're gonna put that baby on the back burner for some time. Just take it easy. We're working on Hurricane. And I don't get it. I really don't. Anyway, it's all over the forums, too. It's everywhere. I don't know if it's in this post. I'd be surprised if it's not. They changed the puke skills not to look like puke FENGRUSH. Oh, well, there we go. Well, cool new effects then to that. I'll drink to that, Miss Biz. There we go. All right, how about the pet sorcerer supposed to defend our pets now that they simply cannot be shielded as often as before and will now just die in red? This guy, wait. As often as before and will now just die in red? What's he talking about? It's not like we're providing some major party boost. We're adding a damage limit to pets so they can't be one shot. There's a start. You should give This should give you more time to shield them reactively instead of proactively. Also, keep in mind that pets take less damage from AoE attacks to make up for the fact they can't intelligently move out of the red telegraphs. Can we just get rid of pets? Can we make the next DLC like the Mages Guild Tower and just put the pet tree in there? Just get rid of it and just make a new one. Nobody wants this shit. Just move the pets out, and then everyone can have Atronarch and the other stupid pets. Just there you go, new skill line, and then just bring something in new for the sorcerers, please. And put some snapmorphs in there when you do that. These pets are garbo. No one's ever gonna use them, at least in PvP. Oh well.
Son of a bitch.
Do they have a dev dedicating to each class? No, they have one dev that does like all the class, all the items. Wrobel does everything, man. He's doing too much. And this is why you get these kind of fixes. Like the Sorc is bounced on Wednesday morning from like 10 to 11. Like they're like we have the Sorc meeting from 10 to 11. Everybody get together. You know what? It's probably 10:30 to 11 because they probably spent the rest of the fucking morning adding buffs in for Nightblades and DKs, and they had to make a lot of room for that shit. Like, yeah, just bold in, pencil that shit in. We'll squeeze in Sorc. We'll redo Hurricane, okay? We'll throw it in there. Dark Exchange, we'll up the numbers again. Good? All right. Meeting adjourned. Let's move on to some more Templar buffs. We don't want those guys starting up a riot again in the PTS forums. So no, there's not a dedicated dev to each class. That's silly. That'd be a waste of money the way they see it. That's potentially that many more artists you could be paying for the next DLC.
Son of a bitch.
Oh boy, that's a monster one. Enchantments and poisons both proc in the same... what's the question? Poisons, they seem designed to affect magic users in an unbalanced way when stamina builds have already been made so much stronger. Please look at bouncing weapon enchant against this or add a poison antidote. Please, we don't want to just get farmed all day. They seem designed to affect magic users in an unbalanced way. Why? I don't get it. Enchantments and poisons both proc in the same manner. They require weapon attacks. Oh, he means the way they proc. Okay. I don't believe that. That's bullshit from this guy, but... I'm just going to move on. I don't like that question. Magic cost increasing. Can you please look into this? Everything increased. Stamina increased, too. Moving on. Skill and DPS loss. We lost our best damaging ability. Look at this picture. Skill and DPS loss. We've lost some of our best damage abilities that we used in the Dark Brotherhood patch. We're okay with this. Stamina needed, but please figure this. Can we get a stamina more for at least one of the pets? A clan fair would be awesome. We think this is a fun idea. Some of these lines, if Wrobel typed these, some of these lines are great. We think this is a fun idea. However, there is much deliberation when considering if an ability should be converted to magic or stamina. Clan Fear's Hero. It currently scales off the player's max health, meaning this is an ideal ability for a tank. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm going to make a tank build for Sorcs. I'm going to name it after Wrobel. Tanks generally spend the majority of their stamina blocking and then use their magic for utility. There's nobody tanking on Sorc, bro. Oh, God. Alright, we're done. I agree with this gif here. FENGRUSH, give Sorc Psycho Jet. I agree. That's it for that. We're going to watch the Spees video here in a second. You guys haven't. Did I miss anything? What do you guys think? Does anyone disagree? Does anyone have thoughts? Because it wasn't too bad, but there were some things in there that were painfully bad too. I've heard worse. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, Wrobel didn't even get to come to PAX East. I'm still upset about that. Can you guys imagine if I could have met Wrobel in person? It would have been great. Oh well. We would have had a grand old time. I would have asked Wrobel to come out and drink. If I could go out and just hang out with him, it would be a fun time, I think. I think we could get a lot done. I could get a lot done with Wrobel. Just one night of drinking than they've done in the past 6 months, 12 months. I think we could get more done in that time. I think the guy who works on all these class favors Nightblade the most, I bet his main... Yeah, I don't think they have a preference and they're like, let's balance this. I don't, they slowly change things on what is the loudest complaint. That's all it is. It's very obvious. Go in Sorc tank next patch. Name him Hurricane Wrobel. There you go. Is your camera lagging?